seriously, how far could it have flown? I mean, it's a purple anchor-shaped missile. It's gotta be here. My floor is not that messy. It gassed me, like, it hit the backboard, flew to the left, and it's gotta be... Okay, never mind. Forget it. I'll find it later. I'll just, like, not run the vacuum cleaner for a while. Not a big deal. I need to focus on the here and now, and the here and now is day 2, our second review for Cyber Beast Week on Random Review, and this one is Hellscream, also of Beast Wars 2, or Beast Wars the Second, if we are going to be more correct. This one was donated to me quite a while ago by longtime fan Ojunix, and this is kind of what kicked off my love of the Cyber Beasts, is getting this guy in hand for the first time, and really led to this week of reviews. So this is the genesis of it all. He is based on the original Beast Wars Cyber Shark, who was a hammerhead. Now this one is being a little bit closer to a saw shark, which ironically is not the only time that Cyber Shark got remolded into a saw shark. This one far more fitting of a Cyber Shark name, however, as we can see he's loaded with mech detail on top of all the old shark bits. What's remaining is mostly here in the central body, which is done in a very pale blue with a very small glitter element added to the plastic. It gives it this nice sheen, like it's wet or more to match a shark's scales. A little bit of skin folds in there too, just to give it a more organic look. To match a shark better, the underside a little bit smoother and painted over in a beige color. Works really nice, comes across as a very organic look, which is in stark contrast to the rest of the toy, which of course is heavy machine details, mostly done in this metallic teal plastic. It actually does mix quite nicely. The blues look good together, and it gives it the look of metal without making it look like something that does not belong in the ocean. Well, not that you'd expect to see something like this in the ocean, but you get my my intentions here. Like, it's a nice, watery color. It works really well. Now, the new mech details are all over the place, of course, most notably the head, which is loaded with paint, from the saw blade itself being painted up in silver, lots of silver and black and red, and even some yellow here and there, to give the head a very fierce, very, manic look. Like, there's no organics left to the head whatsoever. It's all machine from, the base of the skull onward. There's one thing about the aesthetic that I'm not too happy about, to be frank. You can see a lot of these parts where the machine detail just begins. Like, there's some bleed over here. They painted over in a matching blue paint over here, but once the machine begins, the beast ends, and there really isn't as much mixing of the organic and the technological as the other cyborg beasts managed to do. About the only thing here is the top fin that actually does have some organic detail left behind. I actually like how it's designed like the top of a submarine, giving it a little bit of actual vehicle feel. But you can see in other details, it's all machine. Once the machine starts, it keeps going. The fins on both sides are both mechanical, and of course the tail is completely redone with an underwater turbine, which you can see. Everything in there is molded to look like it's like an actual spinning engine. That's a nice little detail. Now, there's a few other things about this that doesn't quite fit in with the other cyborg beasts, like the fact that it's very symmetrical. Like, for some reason, they decided on this one, all the machine parts were pretty much going to match on both sides. You can see both fins are identical, and most of the head is the same on both sides, outside of these sections, which I assume are the replacements for the eyes. The central piece is the same. These parts over here are the same, as well as the rear. So it's a little bit disappointing. I really like the asymmetrical look that the cyborg beasts bring. So it's a little bit lacking here. While it's extremely well detailed and well painted all the way around on all sides, I don't know. I could have used a little bit more of the randomness that some of the other cyborg beasts carry over. So it's a little bit of a disappointment, but it still looks really cool. I mean, a cyborg shark, it's one of the cooler ideas that you could come up with. It's one of the more menacing things I could imagine. It's sharks with freaking laser beams attached to their heads and going like 10 steps farther. So that's how cool a cyborg shark is. Now, for actual gimmick, I can fire this off because this is not going to go too far anyway. The head does fire off, revealing this all silver, cyclops looking head underneath, which is actually really creepy when you look at it a little bit too long. That makes a lot more sense in this version of the toy, because on Cybershark he could still do that, but that was with an organic head, so it looked like he was decapitating himself. When it's all mechanical detail, that makes a lot more sense and comes across more, like super robot firing fist type attack. So that actually kind of works a lot better for me. But as long as this is off, let's go ahead and get this guy transformed into actual robot mode. And we can talk a little bit more about what makes him different from the other cyborg beasts. And it starts by completely removing the tail. Like, this is the unfortunate part. This guy is a parts former, because we're going to have to set that aside and put it back later. Now, beyond that, he's got a very basic transformation to him. There's not a whole lot going on here. We'll flip the legs forward and then flip that down. And that's pretty much it. Like, that's pretty much the transformation. Like, okay, we'll fold the feet out. And we will get these folded back so they're not protruding out too far. But that's the transformation. Like, it's that simple. And then we have to go ahead and connect this piece on to form his left arm. That's all there really is to it. So we'll stand him there, which is not the easiest of tasks. There we have our deluxe class Hellscream in robot mode. And now we're getting a little bit to the asymmetry that I was looking for, but not exactly the way I was expecting. This gets a little bit odd. We'll do what we always do here on Random Review and take a look at the head first, so I can get that nice thumbnail I like. The head is freakish. He's got these long row of sharp teeth. He's always grinning. It looks like his cheeks are being pulled open by those little, like, silver tabs attached to his lips. It's a very striking face. Once again, the cyborg beasts are just not happy, pleasant people. They come across very angry and hostile. Given what's been done to them, I really don't blame them. The most prominent detail I think you can see across in this mode is a lot of red's been added in, as all of the underside of the shark's skin that we pulled back has been revealed and is all this deep red color painted. There's some molding details you can actually make out, a little bit of extra mechanical bits, but for the most part, all you get is the red, and it's a really creepy look considering that is the shell of the shark. It really feels like you just peeled the skin off of the shark. It's creepy that way. Now, you see he has added a lot more black in this mode, which kind of breaks up the colors and the blues a little bit more, and a little bit more asymmetry. One of the thighs has been replaced with something much more mechanical in that teal blue that the machine parts are made from. The rest is pretty basic. There really isn't any added paint apps going on. He's pretty much just there. I can show little things like he does have a rub sign that's hidden underneath, which still works on mine. He is definitely a Predacon, or Destron, more correctly. The only big addition, of course, is that gigantic arm of his, made up of the entire beast mode tail. Now, the original Cybershark had 2 arms, and this tail just became like a bladed weapon. Now it's this huge, massive thing, and it makes him very unwieldy, unfortunately. It, of course, is extremely heavy on his left side. It makes posing kind of difficult. He does have a ball-jointed head for articulation,
Both shoulders are ball jointed with a bicep rotation, and both do have a good elbow joint to them, the right better than the left. Thighs fully ball jointed and articulated. There's a thigh swivel, there's a 90-degree knee bend. No real play in the ankles because they tend to lock in that position. So he doesn't have bad articulation, but man, the balance on him is not the easiest thing to deal with, especially if the ball joints have loosened up over the years. Now, this toy kind of excels in the gimmicky range, where we already saw that the head fires off in beast mode. The same head can also be held on to like so in robot mode. And now he's really bulked out in this mode. Now, again, this is where his machine parts make more sense than the original Cyber Sharks, because this just became some kind of hammerhead-looking shield. But now, with the saw shark end on it, it's much more of an actual melee weapon. So this is actually quite an improvement as far as I'm concerned. Now, we'll go ahead and remove it because we'll need it a little bit later. For the big missile launcher, we do have some extra missiles that have been stowed away in his back like so, which I'll give you a quick look at because there's some subtle detailing here. There's a little shark head molded into the missile. It's kind of adorable, just a little bit adorable. Kind of weird for a Predacon / Destron, but it kind of made sense on a Maximal. A little bit of humor to it, which they do load into the tip of the tail here and can be fired off as such. We aren't going to be firing them because we know what happened last time, but there's the trigger just in case you want to. Now, the original Cybershark didn't have that. For his missiles, you flip that forward and you fire them off, blast charge style from the chest. And I really don't like the way this looks. I never like missile launchers mounted this way because it just looks very strange and kind of awkward. But it's there if you want. And there is a second missile in there as well. I like that they store away too. They can even be held as clubs if you want a little bit more melee weapon out of him. Now, this brings a question. Can the shark head also be launched from the gun? It can still be launched from the chest. So if you actually do want to flip that chest up and launch the shark head from here, yes, you can actually do that. And then it looks completely absurd. But, well. It actually, in beast mode, kind of creates a biting action if it wasn't for the fact that most of his teeth don't come with him. But no, it does not actually fit. The parts and kibble are actually in the way. However, if you do pay attention, you will notice that connecting them are just a couple of pegs, which means if you want, yes, you can put the blade end of the missile into the launcher and have this just enormous, extremely cruel-looking melee weapon, or you can fire off like an actual missile. So she's now, I've made him even heavier on that side now. So it's a lot going on here. He's got a lot of function to him, which is something the Cyborg Beasts all do really well, is add function to their original toys. That's something that really impresses me about this, because it's not enough to just remold them to be really cool. They get extra function too. So it's a little bit more than just buying a bizarre version of the Cybershark you already owned. So that is the second of our Cyborg Beasts for the week, Hellscream. I will admit, while I still really, really like the toy, he's probably my least favorite of the four. I'm not a fan of the part forming, and I do wish that the mechanical and the organic mixed a little bit better in his remolding, but he still has this really crazy cybernetic look to him, and I really do like all the extra features they crammed into him. So maybe the weakest, but still a solid toy. I'm still a big fan of it. So that just leaves one more to go. I will see you guys Friday, and in the meantime, I'm about to turn this room upside down. Missile, where are you?